So, a very good evening to all the Bhaktajans here who have gathered to listen to the immortal talks of Lord Hanuman. In the last chapter, we learned about the 8 different states of existence and how is it that we are never in a single state of existence. If we lose our awareness, we move to the lower state, but in awareness, we raise ourselves to a higher degree of consciousness. So always our effort, our objective should be to raise ourselves and rise as we do that to a higher state of consciousness through awareness. Now, I had spoken about karma and why is it that when we actually offer our any kind of offerings to Lord Hanuman, then how is it that we are surrendering ourselves and in doing so, we are ensuring that our karmas are fast forwarded. Now, Lord Hanuman is going to instruct us about reality. There are different versions of reality. My reality may not be the same as your reality. Reason being, you have a different background. So the way in which you view the world will be very different from the way in which I view the world or anyone else for that matter. For example, you ask an optimist and he'll say, oh, there is an opportunity there. Whereas you ask a pessimist, he'll say that is a crisis. So realities itself is different. So today, Lord Hanuman will instruct us on exactly how realities shape our perspectives and what should we do in this aspect in order to evolve. So it is always important that we do not commit ourselves to a single reality. When we do that, what happens is that we are steep in that reality and from that reality we derive our own identity. And in deriving our own identity, we put a nail onto ourselves because then we are not able to move forward. Whenever there is a different perspective that comes to light in terms of different information, a new information, our perspectives change. Right? You yourself would have seen in the last 10 years, give any topic, your perspective on that topic would have changed with the more information that is coming to light. Right? So what we understand from this is that information is infinite. When we go deeper and deeper, our reality also changes. So be careful before you commit to any hard stance that you want to take. Always give room for another reality. Now, have you ever wondered why is it that Lord Hanuman is worshipped in his monkey form? Lord Hanuman the gods could have chosen Lord Hanuman to be in a human form, but he is worshipped in a monkey form. He could have, if you remember very well, in what happens when the first time Hanumanji meets Rama, he goes in the form of a Brahmana. So he could have continued that, right? He could have taken different forms. For Hanumanji, it was not different. It was not difficult.
Yes.
He could have taken any form. So why is it that we are worshipping him in a monkey form?
I feel despite being a monkey, he's attained moksha, maybe to preach that you a human can do a better job, like an animal or despite being a monkey has attained
Absolutely.
moksha.
That is one of the hard truths. Another one is to say that there are different realities. Otherwise, human beings will think that the way they see the world is the only reality. But today we are also going to get exposed to how a monkey sees the world. You realize that fish see the water as air, and for them air is liquid.
Yeah.
So their reality is different.
Yeah.
So today we'll come to know the title of the chapter is that sun or a fruit?
Sun.
So Lord Hanuman, Baba Mathan started the Charan Puja ceremony for Yajman Basanta by giving his introduction. O Lord Hanuman, when you came 41 years ago, Basanta was a child. Do you know the background and context to this that we are saying since you are a first time listener? Let me give this to you. So when Ramavatara passes away in the Sarayu river, Lord Hanuman comes to visit Vibhishana in Lanka. There he stays with a tribe called the Mathang tribe. And at that time, he imparts Brahma Vidya to them. So the Mathan tribe asked him, Lord, you have given us the Brahma Vidya. What about our next generations? Because we have attained moksha through this knowledge. So Lord Hanuman tells them, see, that knowledge can be documented. It is very different. That is why what we do is we sit at the holy feet of Lord Hanuman. So we invoke his blessing for the transformation. Otherwise, anybody can read this the same text and the knowledge and say, yes, we have also got that knowledge. But when you get it from the divine source at the feet of the Holy Lord, that is when transformation happens. Otherwise, it would happen by a very minuscule manner. But here, from me sitting in my bedroom and reading this story, to me sitting at the holy feet of the Holy Lord, having invoked his blessings, is a different experience. So here what we do is, in the year 2014, Lord Hanuman came to visit. He has been coming like this for tens of thousands of years. And this 2014, Lord Hanuman says that time is now right for this information to go out to the Grihastha Sadhakas. There are many Grihastha Sadhakas who are thirsty for this information, and this is the time that it is right. Maybe what he wants to say is that Kalki Avatar is due, because otherwise Lord Hanuman doesn't come out to instruct like this to the public. So that is one of the hints that we can take. But for whatever it is, we are truly grateful that this knowledge has come to us, and we are trying to evolve in our spiritual path through this knowledge. So what in the Charan Puja ceremony, we are Lord Hanuman is seated on his asana, and all the Mathang tribesmen are there, and he gives them this Brahma Vidya. So what they worship is known as the Charan Puja. So Baba Mathang started the Charan Puja ceremony for Yajman. Yajman is the person who is the host. He's the you can say the Yajman of the puja. Host of the ceremony.
Are we referring to Baba Mata?
No, Yajman Basanta. Basanta is the Yajman right now. So we'll pay our gratitude to Baba Mathang as well as to Basanta, but for whom this knowledge wouldn't have come to us in this light. So Baba Mathang says, O Lord Hanuman, when you came 41 years ago, Basanta was a child. At that time, our camp was on a mountain of Saptakanya mountain range in Sri Lanka. That is where the Charan Puja ceremony happened the last time. That is where you gave supreme knowledge to all the Brahmanas present here, including me. Why do they call them Brahmanas? Anybody who has got the Brahma Vidya and he practices that is the Brahman. Right? So, it is a tragic story why we left that mountain. It is very painful for me to jog through the tragedy, through the memory of the tragedy. But Basanta's introduction cannot be completed if I don't do it. Baba Mathang took a long deep breath and started telling, O Lord Hanuman, only a few months after you departed us 41 years ago, Baba Mathang of that time, all the heads are called Baba. Okay? I also left for the supreme abode of Vishnu Loka. Then I became Baba Mathang. It was not a difficult task to fulfill responsibilities which came with the title of Baba, because all the adult Mathangs had got supreme knowledge directly from you. They knew how to live life to the highest purity of body, mind and intellect. My real test as Baba Mathang was not too far though. One evening I noticed an unusual silence in the valley while having dinner. After dinner, I went straight into my hut and brought out the Hasti Karna. So what is a Hasti Karna? Is a conch, shank. Conch type instrument of the Mathangs that can catch low decibel sounds which a human ear cannot catch. I heard the whispers of Asuras. A flock of dozens of them had gathered up in the mountain. Their whispers were audible with the help of the Hasti Karna down in the valley. I heard them saying, what an opportunity. After a long time, what an opportunity. Opportunity to experience evil is what all the Asuras always look for. it was certain that something evil was going to take place in the mountain. It took only a few minutes to know what opportunity they were talking about. We saw a Vimana crashing into the mountain. Dozens of souls got knocked out of their bodies as the Vimana they were traveling in turned into a red ball, fireball. So when they say knocked out of their bodies, they mean death. So the plane crash that is mentioned here in the logbook is most probably the crash of Martin Air Flight 138 that happened on 4th December 1974 in the Saptakanya Mountains. It was a chartered flight from Indonesia bound for Mecca via Colombo. As per the records checked by Setu with Sri Lankan authorities, 182 Indonesian Hajj pilgrims and 9 crew members died in this crash. The silence of the valley was now replaced by the cries of the birds and animals. I took the first important decision in my capacity as Baba Mathang. I directed all the Mathans to vacate the place and move to the farthest mountain of Saptakanya range overnight because I knew that the outsiders and the king's soldiers would be gathering here in the morning to inspect the accident. King's soldiers here means the forces. At that time, all Mathangs were present in the camp except Basanta's father. He had left for the mountain peak to talk to the ancestors. When the terrified birds settled in their nest, I sent a message to Basanta's father through the birds. So Mathangs are able to converse with all the animals and it's a two-way conversation. They are able to talk to spirits, to animals, to the gods, and it's all a two-way conversation. He was safe even though the Vimana had crashed very close to him. Who? Basanta's father. I asked him to come down to the valley immediately. So he was up in the mountains. Oh Lord Hanuman, as you know, we Mathangs keep only one long-term possession, the gemstones inherited by each family generation after generation. These gemstones help us to connect with our ancestors. Whenever there is any dharma sankata, we connect with our ancestors who we believe are still living in the negative coordinates of time. What they mean is the past. While climbing down hastily from the mountain, Basanta's father lost the gemstones. It was dark and the light of his torch was not sufficient to search the gemstones. When he could not find them after a long search, I asked him to leave some marks on the cliff there so that we could go find the gemstones later. We vacated that place overnight and shifted to the farthest mountain of the Saptakanya range from here. And when we returned after a couple of months, our camp was completely destroyed by the outsiders and the king's soldiers. We went to the place where Basanta's father had lost his gemstones. We searched for the gemstones for many days, but to no avail. I got a vision that the gemstones had been stolen by an outsider. For that outsider, those were just precious stones, but for Basanta's family, those were the building blocks of the gateways to their ancestors. It turned out that this loss was not merely a loss of the gemstones. I observed that all the Mathangs were losing the path of moksha because of the loss of these gemstones. While doing their day-to-day work in the mountain, they would often just go and search for these gemstones. Their behavior was turning more and more like the outsider human beings who keep thinking of materialistic things from time to time. I decided that all the Mathang families will throw away their gemstones in the river to become even with Basanta's family. I performed a puja to get your permission to implement my decision, but I did not get your permission. You instead advised me to adopt Basanta's family so that they can share my gemstones. I did the same. To leave the painful memories of losing the gemstone behind, all the Mathangs left the Saptakanya mountains and came here. O Lord Hanuman, this is the introduction of the first Yajman of the Charan Puja, Basanta. His father could never come to terms with the loss of the treasure of his ancestors. His body became old and expired, but his soul has not left for Vishnu Yuloka yet. His soul is still here without a body, with only one desire of getting the gemstones back for his family. A soul with only a single desire and completely clear karma accounts otherwise cannot get a new body in Kali Yuga. Do you understand the meaning of that? Which means that if I have a lot of karma in my karmic account balance, and when I have karma, I also have some other desires. So if I have both karma and desires, I can get another body in this Kali Yuga. But I have no karma. I have only one desire. So whenever a human body takes birth, it is based on the coordinates of karma and desire. These two coordinates come together, and so we take a birth. Because the karma and desire will decide who our parents are, will decide in what family we take birth, what will be the situation, circumstances that we will face when we go through this life as this journey. All of this is based on karma desire coordinates. But imagine, Basanta's father's karma account is clear. No, he is in shunya state of karma and only one desire. So the soul is still hanging. It is not able to take a body. Once its desire is fulfilled, it will get moksha. But my real worry is Basanta. Because of this tragedy witnessed by him in childhood, many asuras and suras have influenced his soul. As a result, there is a huge amount of karma in his karma account. That is why I have made him the first yajman of the Charan Puja. You remember in the last stories how he comes towards...
vulnerable.
He's so vulnerable, he comes towards when they are lighting the lamp. And Basanta starts walking, and then when he sees the lamp, he faints. When he faints, an asura flies out of the body. So to give you a little bit of a background, we are influenced by suras and asuras all the time. When we experience any kind of negative emotions, which could be gratification of a cunning kind that we have triumphed over our enemy, it could be negativity of jealousy, of depression, of sadness, of guilt. All of these negative emotions, when you experience, is not experienced by you alone. It is experienced by an asura who at that time hijacks your body and mind. He experiences, and then when you come back to normalcy, he flies and goes away. When you are experiencing a good emotion, a positive emotion, I am a cricketer, I have hit a century, I feel elated, I am on top of the world, I have won a match, I feel so good, I am getting promoted, my boss has praised me to high heavens, I feel so great about myself. When I start feeling good about myself, I don't experience it alone. A sura comes into my body, he hijacks mine, and he feels the emotion as well. So, that is why in awareness, when we become aware that we are feeling this positive emotion or we are feeling this negative emotion, and we ask ourselves, who is feeling this? Who is feeling this continuously? At that time, it is a sadhana. When we ask ourselves, who is feeling this? We leave this temple, we feel divine. That is also an emotion. अरे इतनी बार हनुमान चालीसा गाया है, राम जप किया है, अब तो पक्का मैं भगवान के करीब हूँ. I am feeling divine and I walk out. Ask yourself, who is feeling this divine emotion? It will not be you, it will be a sura. Nothing wrong with a positive emotion, but what happens is, आपने कहावत सुनी होगी कि इतना भी सुखी मत हो, दुख जरूर आएगा. Correct? Alva,
Yeah.
why? Because when a sura experiences and leaves you, he leaves you vulnerable for an asura attack to come. So when you become aware, I'm feeling a positive emotion, who is feeling it? And I am in awareness that I am not this body, I am the soul. It's the character who is feeling it, not me. I am anchored in permanent bliss. मेरी आत्मा तो परमात्मा का एक हिस्सा है. मैं तो हमेशा anchored हूँ. I am in permanent bliss. So the character is feeling these emotions. Then the sura has no choice but to leave you and go. Similarly, it is easier said than done. That is why it's a lifelong sadhana to be aware that I am feeling this negative emotion. Who is feeling? I am feeling very angry. I got very angry at somebody in office today who was claiming false credit for something that he had not done, and I wrote to him. But so in my mail, one of the other guys who had CC'd actually asked, Anil, you are feeling angry? Is that right? Is what another person wrote. I said no, but when I had written the mail itself, I was very clear. I said no, I'm not feeling angry, but I need clarity from him. I had stated the facts and I wanted clarity as to his role. So in every day, every minute, my friends, every moment, you have an exchange with your spouse, you have an exchange with your colleagues, you have an exchange with your friends, and they are continuously invoking some emotion inside you. If we are not aware that they are invoking an emotion, we are free hai hamara body. Asura kam, sura kam.
But when you write, you have written that mail. So in that case, you are in a state of oneness. But what about the other person to whom you have written that mail? So what will be his state, or
his state will be of a defensive state. He will be defensive because he knows he doesn't deserve it.
so he will not take it positively that it's coming to him as something, right?
In this case, I would say that he took it positively, because if he had taken negatively, then there were too many proofs to prove him otherwise. But I would say that it depends. Like, see, there are two things
I'm
that.
saying you are at this level, but he might be at this level.
But sometimes you have to make him aware, right? That look, this is ye chalega nahi. You cannot, because it is called social loafing. What is social loafing? It is a topic in organizational behavior where the rest of the members are working. You pretend to work, and you also get the credit because everybody else is also working twice as hard as you. So you have to see, that's what I'm saying, that there are tough interactions that you have to take a call on. But these have to be, just because you feel that I am in a state of bliss, I am evolved, I cannot take this tough call. That is not right as well. When you need to take a tough call, state your facts, check within yourself, where am I coming from? I remember Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who scolded one of his disciples, and they said, Guruji, you are angry. He said, no, I'm pretending to be angry. Even Baba Mathang in this, he shouts at those Setu, and they all ask him, right? Remember,
why? Nice acting.
Yeah, nice acting. You did a very good acting of doing this. So we are all, if we remember that we are a play and this is all a stage and we are acting, that's all it takes. You act like you're angry. Of course, he has to pull his socks. And that is one of the things that we have to do, because we have to operate in this world. We can't say that I am like a sannyasi living in Himalayas and I will be all goody. That means that you are being unfair to the other guys who are working hard, right? So it is also being fair. So in my way of putting it, he took it constructively, and he said, no, I understand, I realize, I acknowledge, I will pull it up. So it was a positive result. But let's say he had gone into a negative spiral, saying, who are you to question me, right? I would have left it there. There are two things that we have to avoid. One is bekar ka bahas. Second is dimag ki khurafat. Two things that we have to avoid. Otherwise, what will happen? They will pull you. That will act as a mermaid.
Yeah.
That would be a pit for us then.
Yes, there is a concept called the mermaid that we had learned, where what is a mermaid? If you give that's the myth, right? That if you give your hand to the mermaid, she'll pull you in with her. So if you give if that emotion that someone is throwing at you, a strong emotion, right? What will happen if you try to argue with them? They'll pull you down. They'll take you along with their emotion, and you will be beaten down. You will come out feeling, oh God, I have fallen today in my level of consciousness. So be aware. In that awareness, avoid. So this is my mantra. Bekar ka bahas, dimag ki khurafat. I keep repeating. Am I doing? If I am, I come out of it, and I will maintain myself. I'll say, let God be with you. Wish you all the best. Move out. So this is what I'm saying about awareness, about how we become a free body. All of us, we all become, including me. Only way is that we have to live in awareness. So we become a free body for suras to come and hijack us, for asuras to come and hijack us in the peak of emotions. So this is what we were also discussing another day. What is a soul split?
Yeah.
In your peak of emotion, when you say, goodness me, I am so angry, and you get a sudden moment of realization that I am angry, a moment of awareness. It is your soul showing a reflection to your character, asking you, what are you doing? That reflection in the mirror that the soul gives to your character is called a soul split. And the more you're experiencing these soul split moments, it is a testimony to the fact that you are on the path.
we are on the path and we
We
are
are
detaching
evolving
ourselves from the mind. and
absolutely, absolutely. We are putting that distance between this character and the soul.
body. And then we are getting into that state of awareness.
Awareness that we are the soul. The character's journey will
Or
go
I'll say the
on.
present.
The present moment as well. Yes. I'm so happy you're catching it so well.
Yeah.
Because this is your first attendance in this talk. We have discussed so many concepts, and these are all for them. It's a recap. They are able to associate, but you're drawing the pattern so well.
Thank you. But yeah, this will be, I think, the only visit for me because I'm just here as a distinct.
Don't worry, we'll put you into the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So he says, as soon as Baba Mathang finished the introduction of Basanta, the Hotar is the mediator. He's the moderator, right? The Hotar Urva. Hotar Urva stood up and asked, "O Lord Hanuman, I am curious to know where those gemstones are right now. Are they with the same person who stole them from Saptakanya mountain? Can Basanta's family get those gemstones back? How would soul of Basanta's father be liberated if gemstones are not returned to the family?" All very valid questions. Lord Hanuman smiled. The smile was an indication that the reply was not going to be simple. Lord Hanuman replied, "If the desire to have gemstones is here, then the gemstones are also here." Why? You remember I had told you about the ambience in Satyuga around the ashram?
Right. Whatever they desire, it happens.
In an ashram where there are highly enlightened rishis, in the ambience of that ashram, it becomes a Satyuga. In Satyuga, when a desire gets desire is asked, desire is expressed, it gets fulfilled immediately. So that's why Lord Hanuman, in the presence of Lord Hanuman,
It's Satyuga.
it's Satyuga. You go and ask him, it is fulfilled. In Sakshat Darshan, I'm saying. So, but it is Kali Yuga, Lord. Expressed desires are present in infinitely large number, Urva says, and they're all in conflict with each other. For example, the person who stole the gemstones and Basanta's family both have conflicting desires. Both sides want to have the gemstones, correct? And I suspect that Asuras are favoring the other side. Because that fellow has got it out of, he's stolen it, right? And he has that guilt, so Asuras are favoring them.
So, if this is the thing, then can I say that this time there is a different yug for you and a different yug for me? Is that the thing?
No, listen to it, you will get to know. I know there are a lot of questions in your mind, but we will just go through it a little bit more, you will understand. If you still don't, we'll again clarify. So, and I suspect that the Asuras are favoring the other side. That is why we couldn't get those gemstones back. Urva said with the intention to get a simple reply from Lord Hanuman. Lord Hanuman replied, "The person who took away the gemstones from the mountain did not live in peace thereafter. He started getting many kinds of troubles. On the advice of a wise man, he put those gemstones in a container and threw it in a river. The container reached the ocean immediately, ultimately, and sank to the bottom. So the gemstones are in the seabed." Urva's eyes sparkled for a moment. Next thought sucked out the sparkle. He asked, "But Lord, how to get the gemstones back from there?" Lord Hanuman smiled again and repeated his words. "If the desire to have the gemstones is here, then the gemstones are also here. But this is Kali Yuga." Urva mumbled. Baba Mathang explained it to the confused Urva. "We are standing in the Hanumandal right now. Inside Hanumandal, it is similar to Satyuga. If a desire is expressed here, it will get fulfilled without any hurdle of conflicts. That means you don't have to do any purushartha. What is purushartha? Karma, action. So you don't have to search, go take a deep dive in the ocean, get and scour the bottom of the ocean bed. You don't have to do all that, right? If a desire is expressed here, it will get fulfilled without any hurdle of conflict. No matter where those gemstones are right now, they will come right here in the Hanumandal." When Baba Mathang made this statement, a movement was noticed in the Asuras and Suras present outside. and inside the Hanumandal respectively. Baba Mathang realized that the movement was originated not from him but Basanta. Basanta was sitting and murmuring something with his eyes closed. Apparently he was expressing the desire to get back the gemstones. Baba said at once, stop doing that, Basanta. Everyone looked towards Basanta curiously, especially Urva. Baba Mathang said, Basanta, do you have any idea how many desires you just expressed? More than 1,000. Yes, desire expressed not only through the conscious mind but also through the subconscious and unconscious mind. Within a few seconds, while you were murmuring and expressing your desire for gemstones, through your conscious mind, your subconscious mind and unconscious mind revisited all the memories starting back from the tragic incident of Saptakanya mountain. So within a few seconds, you have expressed more than 1,000 different desires. If you want to fulfill your desire of expressing the gemstones, you need to express only that without any emotions and other desires attached to it. Right now, you will not be able to do so. First, you need to purge all those karmas accumulated by you. Therefore, please sit quietly until I complete the ceremony of giving arpanam or offerings brought by you. I seek pardon, Basanta stood up and said. Now that I am enlightened by your wise words, I shall sit quietly. Please start the ceremony. So there is a chapter called The Secret of Desire Fulfillment. So what happens in this chapter is Lord Hanuman tells us about how that when we express a desire, that desire gets fulfilled in this world. Okay, what is the construct of this law of Trideva that comes into action when any desire is expressed? So he there, remember that chapter, what he says, express a specific desire without putting a timeline and without being emotional about it. I want to construct a house. I want to construct a house in the next 5 years. I want to construct this kind of a house in this kind of a place in that kind of a site with this kind of interiors, and before my father dies, when he is alive, before my son completes 10th standard, all that desire, we will put conditions, right? What will happen? It will come into your Swapnaloka. That is the principle. Lord Indra, who is responsible for giving out these, he has no choice. He says, sorry, you put all these conditions. I can only give it to you in Swapnaloka. And in Swapnaloka, only 10% of what we have dreamt, we carry it back. So we would have dreamt it so many times that I have already constructed that house with all those conditions. So whenever we express any desire, express a specific desire without any emotions or constraints or conditions. I want to construct a house, that's it. I may not have the necessary karma to construct the house in this life. It may happen in the next life, right? So that karma, that desire will get carried forward in our next life. Maybe we'll not get it in next life also. Maybe it will come in the 5th life.
That is, we should not do that.
So the idea of moksha is to have zero desire. But if you have a desire, just express that simple desire. Oh Lord, when you pray to Lord, do not put any constraints, do not put any conditions, do not put any emotions. Just say, Lord, I want to construct a house. Leave it. Don't say when, where, this, that, no. So that is what these are some of the lessons. See, the reason that we are not rushing through the chapter, I'm not reading the chapter word to word and I'm stopping for commentary, is to also drive clarity as to what we should be taking from this and applying in our daily lives.
How to absorb it.
How to practice it. How to apply it. When Basanta sat back to his place in peace, Baba Mathang started the ceremony of Arpanam. Addressing Lord Hanuman, he said, "O Lord Hanuman, if Basanta's soul is sitting here in the body of a Mathang, it is all because of his past karma." See, those who take life in the Mathang tribe, it is their last life on earth. Because they have cleared so much of their karmas that only such souls take this thing. So Basanta is not an ordinary soul. He would have been a sannyasi, a rishi in the Himalayas. He would have done something in order to take that birth there. Imagine, after all those sadhanas, he's still there. So imagine the kind of journey that we have to take as ordinary souls. Whatever his soul is today is a sum total of all his past karma. Basanta has brought a basket full of fruits for Arpanam. These fruits are also a sum total of his past karmas that he is offering. Each of these fruits represents a series of karmas accumulated by his soul. Today his soul desires to drop all its desires and surrender all its karmas in your holy feet. That is what we should be doing when we come to the temple. Surrender all our karmas and express no desires. Instead we do the reverse. We do the exact opposite, right? So in Ishan Mahesh ji's latest video, he has taken up there is a series he runs called Man Ka Sawal. In that Man Ka Sawal, he has one of them has asked, Prabhu, can you please talk to Lord Hanuman? I want to get 2 crores. The exact opposite, right? All these desires, all those karmas. So Lord Hanuman nodded. On behalf of the Yajman, I offer all these karma fruits one by one in your holy feet. Lord Hanuman nodded and gave permission for the same. Then the Lord closed his eyes and went into meditation. 3 Brahmins stood up to help Baba Mathan. Each of the 3 Brahmins had an empty basket with them. So 3 baskets. One of them went straight near the Lord Hanuman and placed an empty basket near the holy feet of the Lord. Right in front of Lord Hanuman, there was a rectangular water reservoir. Second Brahmin went second and the third went to either corners and placed the empty baskets there. This basket was draped in a red color cloth and red threads. Third Brahmin, so the second Brahmin went and placed this thing there. Third Brahmin went to another corner and this basket was draped in white cloth with white sacred threads. Empty basket in front, red to the left and right was the white. When the 3 Brahmins came to their assigned places, Baba Mathan picked up a fruit from the basket which was brought by Basanta for Arpanam. He clapped the fruit to his forehead and closed his eyes. He remained in that position for more than 10 minutes. There was pin drop silence in the Hanumandal. Baba Mathan slowly walked towards the water reservoir and started circling it. Urva was keenly observing Baba Mathan's movements. When Baba Mathan completed the circle around the reservoir, he moved a bit towards the holy feet of Lord Hanuman, where one of the 3 empty baskets was placed. Immediately an Asura broke into the Hanumandal. A movement was seen in the Suras as well. Baba Mathan immediately stepped back and started circling the water reservoir again. The Sura who had broken in to the Hanumandal moved out. When Baba Mathan completed a circle around the reservoir for the second time, same thing happened. A couple of Asuras broke into the Hanumandal and some Suras also came downwards. Baba Mathan circled the reservoir 7 times and finally dropped the fruit in the red basket kept on one of the corners of the reservoir. Baba Mathan came to the altar where the Brahmins were giving oblations of sacred fluid to the god of fire. Urva too joined. So Baba Mathan and Urva started chanting hymns. These hymns were nothing but a conversation between Urva Kotar and Baba Mathan. It went as follows. Kotar Urva said, Baba, the first fruit has gone into the red basket and not in the basket kept in the holy feet of Lord Hanuman. See, there are no mantras. It's just a conversation that they are having. But the conversation itself is so divine that they are doing it while putting their oblations of ghee and all that in the fire. Does that mean that the first ever attempt of Charan Puja Arpanam has failed? Baba Mathan asked. Baba Mathan said, no, Hotar, the attempt was successful. Had I tried to drop the fruit in the holy feet of Lord, an Asura would have become successful in disrespecting the Lord. That would have been the real failure. I successfully avoided that and dropped the fruit in the red basket instead. But that fruit could not be offered to Lord Hanuman, right, Baba? Yes, you can say that the fruit couldn't make it through the screening process. It was not eligible to be offered to the Lord. Oh Baba, for the benefit of all of those present here, kindly tell us in detail as to why that fruit was not pure enough to be offered to the Lord. Please tell us what you saw when you
Churned.
when you please tell us what you saw when you clapped it to your forehead and what you experienced while circling the reservoir. This is where it gets interesting. Baba Mathang replied, "Oh Hotar, when I clapped the fruit to my forehead, I saw the unsettled karmas of Basanta's soul, which that fruit represents. I saw hundreds of karmas of Basanta's soul. Some karmas were done in the influence of nothing but desires of his soul, while the other karmas were done under the influence of suras and asuras. So the actual ownership of that fruit is shared between his soul, some suras and some asuras." You remember I was telling you this in the last video as well. Of all the owners, the owner who has the biggest share in the fruit has the right to offer or to not offer the fruit in the holy feet of Lord Hanuman. In this case, that asura who had broken into the Hanumandal happened to be having the biggest share. Had I tried to offer the Lord, he would have entered in any body present here and he would have disrespected the Lord, or he would have put some other obstruction in the puja. I avoided that successfully. Hence, the first attempt of the Arpanam was successful. Urva asked, "Baba, please tell how that asura became a shareholder in Basanta's karmas." Baba Mathang replied, "When I clapped the fruit on my forehead, I saw many karmas, of which 3 are worth mentioning to understand how asura became a shareholder in Basanta's karmas. I saw that one day Basanta was climbing on a tree branch. He was aware that a bird's nest is on that branch. He accidentally placed his foot on the nest. There were eggs inside that nest which broke. Basanta repented a lot. He couldn't believe how his legs stretched to that nest despite being aware that there was a nest. He cursed himself for the crime of breaking the bird's eggs. Actually, it was not he who broke those eggs. It was an asura who did this evil act through Basanta's body. Urva, do note that the asura had only captured his body to do the evil act. His soul still repented. His intellect was still in his control. With the help of the intellect, we judge as to what is good and what is bad. Basanta was repenting that evil act. When his foot got on the nest, he was aware that he had done an evil act. That shows that his intellect was not captured by the asura, only his body was captured. When an asura accomplishes an evil act through a body, it tends to linger near the same body in the hope of getting another opportunity to do evil through that body. See this. See how they are trying to influence us. Not only that, it tries to. It is Ganeshji's Vahan. Why are you so scared? Not only that, it tries to manipulate that body and mind to create an opportunity to do evil. That is the nature of the asuras. This particular asura was also lingering around Basanta's body and looking for an opportunity to do evil again. The opportunity did come. Few days later, Basanta was collecting honey from a beehive. A bird's nest was placed in such a way that it felt like it was an obstruction to Basanta. Right? He kicked the nest down and so that he could comfortably collect honey. When he finished collecting honey, he noticed that broken eggs inside the nest had fallen on the ground. He realized that it was a bad decision to kick the nest down. How could I do such an evil act? I could have collected the honey without kicking the nest down. He repented. Actually, it was not done by him, but by that asura. Do note, O Urva, in this case, not only Basanta's body was captured, but also his intellect. He made the decision of kicking the nest by using his intellect. He repented it later because he had realized that the act was evil as per his samskara. So the samskara body was still intact. It shows that his samskara was not captured by the asura. Few months later, I asked Basanta to bring feather of a particular bird for my work. When he couldn't find a feather for many hours, he decided to kill a bird to get its feathers. That evening when he brought feathers to me, I immediately got to know that he had killed a bird to get those feathers. When I declared punishment for him, he argued with me, saying that bird had to die one day anyway. He gave the logic that innumerable birds become food for non-vegetarian creatures every day. He had no remorse for his evil act. Clearly that asura had not only captured his body, mind, intellect, but now his samskara as well. Do you now understand, O Hotar? how that Asura became a shareholder in Basanta's karmas? Do you now understand, O Urva, what would have happened if I had tried to offer that fruit to the Lord? Basanta recited that hymn. Urva's reply was, yes, O wisest of Mathams, now I understand why that Asura broke into the Hanumandal. Had you tried to offer that fruit to the Lord, that Asura would have become successful in accomplishing another and a major evil act today. As a result, he would have lingered more intensely around Basanta. Baba recited another hymn addressing Urva. Tell me, O future keeper of Matham culture, tell me, O Urva, what effect it will have on that Asura now that I have foiled his attempt to do an evil act today in a major way. Urva replied, now that Asura will no longer linger over Basanta, for this is the nature of Asuras. Once they see that a soul is not allowing them to do an evil act, they will move on to explore opportunities elsewhere. So please, to all the devotees, how important it is to ensure that we are so aware that we do not allow any evil act to be performed by us.
Chance.
So aware that we have to be, that we cannot allow just one small chance that your body will be captured. Before you know your intellect, then you know your samskara, then you will be justifying, Arey, that would have happened anyway. So, Urva and Baba both left the altar while other Brahmins continued the oblations to the fire god. I will now, it is little late, I will now conclude it, and I would say that we will continue this chapter because this requires the further, we have to still see why the sun is a fruit or is it the sun. So we have not yet got there and it is still a little distance away. So what we'll do is we'll conclude now. We'll pray to Lord Hanuman for having given us this golden supreme knowledge, and to all the Mathan tribesmen for having participated in this Charan Puja, and through their leelas that it has come to us, and pray that we succeed through the blessings of Lord Hanuman in applying and practicing this knowledge in our daily lives, minute to minute, moment to moment. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman.